Today then we're going to be looking at installing these little spotlights here. So we've got 4 of them and they're to go onto the bull bar here. Now I was originally just going to put them all along the front, all 4 of them, but now I've decided what I'm actually going to do. You can see here I've marked it out with this tape. So what I've done here is I've sort of measured out the distance between the 2 so that they're equal. I just put a bit of tape down so that I can mark that and I know where I am and I don't lose it. And then from here, what's going to happen then, look, is we're going to have one sits here. One's going to sit on the other side here. And then I'm still in 2 minds. I'm either going to put them here, one either end, or I'm going to put them facing downwards underneath, which I think is probably where I'm going to put them. But I'll see with that in a moment. I'll have a play. So I want to get the first 2 on first, and then we'll sort of take it from there. So what I'm really looking to do today is to fit them. I'm not necessarily going to wire them up, A, because the weather's not really on our side today, and I don't know how long I'm going to get out here, but also because that takes a little bit of a time, and I'm not really sure I have the time today. So hopefully now the bolt is going to fit through the hole. Yep, there we go. Okay, right, so now it should be a pretty straightforward process. So you have a clip thing here, which is one of these. And this goes onto the back, and I'll show you properly now once I can get this out of the packet. There we are. All right, there we go. So let me see if I can move closer so you can see what I'm doing here. So this is the spotlight itself. On the back of it, you may remember from the last video, we talked about this nut and I thought it was stuck. And I thought I was going to have to figure out how to prise it out, but actually it's meant to be there. So what happens is this connection goes onto here, and this screws onto the back of this, holding that in place. So here you go, look, so this screws on like that, holding that in place. So this basically just sits on top of the bull bar, and this sits on that. So again, should be quite straightforward. So let's try and just get this one on, and then we'll see how we get on from there. So what we're using is a couple of washers, a basic nut there, and one of these bolts. Okay, so that's basically what I'm using to hold it on. Hopefully that's going to be more than adequate, so we'll soon find out. All right, so on the back of these bolts, and also on the back of these here, you need an Allen key. So what I'm going to do here is just get this square as I can, and then just give that a little tighten. So I think that's about it now. I don't want to over tighten them. We're going to come at this from the bottom with a spanner, and we're going to try and tighten it up that way. Brilliant. So that's the first one done. Hopefully now I can just pop the others on. So I'll get the other side on, and then we'll have a look at where to position them on the bottom. So this is the 2 front ones on now. Right, so I don't know whether you can see that okay, but I think they look pretty good. So now it's a question of where I'm going to put the other ones. So I've decided to go below with these ones, and so they're going to sit under here, one on either side like this. Okay, now I think that's going to give it a nice balanced look. I mean, won't know until it's on, but that I think is going to be the best way to go about it. So that's what we're aiming for. So let's just get on with it and see what it looks like. before the holes are drilled. First I did it with a pilot, so just a small one, just to get the placement correct, and then with one that's actually going to be big enough for the bolts to go through it. So it wasn't actually that difficult. I was alright, I was quite happy with that. Now, time to fit these back on. So just to be aware on these connectors that hold this on, they can be over tightened. So you want to make sure that when you do them up, you do them tight enough, obviously, so they don't move around, but they're held on by these little plastic bits here, and they will give under too much pressure. So it's just a little something to be aware of. Now, I don't know whether you noticed, but I may have a bit of a funny sounding voice today. Went to the dentist earlier on today, and I was in the seat for a good hour while they rummaged around, and they numbed me all up, thankfully, so that was really great of them, but it's taken a while to come back to life. So if I sound a bit peculiar outside of the Bristolian twang, then that's what it is. So that's it. The only job left to do now is I'm going to find some black insulation tape, and I'm just going to tape up these little wires, because like I said, I'm not actually going to wire this up now today, but this is all ready to go. So I'm just going to tape all these up just to make sure that the weather doesn't get to them in the next couple of days with the rain and things. And I'll just tie them off to the bar as well, just to make sure. And then that way then, that's ready to go. So when we add that to the light bars on the top and at the back and everything, that's great. We've got some PIR lights to go on as well. So this should be very well lit up by the end of all of this. That's the hope. And there we have it. If I just step back, you can see that's all. I reckon that looks good.